Is your name Lucifer?
My name is Riley Mullen.
My name is Chris Wiener.
And this is my ghost story. So this happened earlier this year, call it January of 2024. We had this thing where every so often we try to find, ghost stories locally and go investigate. We came across a story of a woman named Mary. Mary had been hitchhiking from Minneapolis, Minnesota to where she went to college in Chicago. So she's hitchhiking. It's a completely different era. People don't really do that anymore. She gets picked up by some car, and the last time that she's seen from an eyewitness after all this goes down is that it was a gold brown bronze little hatchback, just a little car that she was seen getting into. The next morning, her body is found here in Dunn County, and she's found stabbed to death. The case is cold. They can't find any clues, any information. All they know is that she was on her way and that it was this specific car, not even a license plate to it though.
Although this case is very old, at this agency, it's never collected dust.
The investigation into the murder of U of M grad student Mary Schlase began in February of 1974, when her body was discovered in rural Springbrook Township. She was last seen hitchhiking to an art show in Chicago. An autopsy revealed Mary had been stabbed several times.
At the time, my girlfriend and we come across this story, and we're looking for places to go and visit that might be haunted. And this story is attached to this dam that's in Elk Lake. So it's probably 1, 2 in the morning. We're out. Our intention was to just, we're just curious, right? Like, we're very curious. We have, we're not looking to stir up the spirits. We're just curious, and it's late. We walk up to the dam. I have my car running, lights pointed at the dam. So we walk up to the dam. And I take my hat off. I'm trying to hear, because if we hear anything, then I'll be able to hear it then. She's all bundled up. She's cold. We get up to the dam. It's really loud. It's really loud, the rushing water. It's not frozen there, so it's rushing by, but we can hear. So we begin, just trying to reach out, I guess you'd say. Just saying something like, Mary, we heard about you, and we come out of goodwill. We don't want to disturb you, but we heard about you and we were curious about you, so we just wanted to visit. My girlfriend says, "Did you hear that?" I said, "No. What are you talking about?" I listened more. A few seconds go by. "No, really, did you hear that?" I'm like, "No, I didn't. What are you talking about?" And then I look over and she just goes stiff, and she doesn't even look at me. She just starts turning and walking away back to the car.
We're talking about an energy that was expelled when she was murdered, a high level of trauma, probably from the moment that she met her killer to the moment that she actually expired. And in that, she released a lot of energy that was absorbed by the environment. Not only that, but then when you get people that show up there looking for paranormal activity, they're also bringing their own level of energy, which, you got to think there's probably, thousands of people that visit that site every year just for the fact that that's where she was murdered. And they put their own energy into the environment, and it just continues to build.
We turn away from the dam, we're going back onto the main road. So what was that? Like what? And she said it hurt. It sounded like not the dam and the water washing, but it was like a wind that had a voice. Kind of like a whisper, but it was louder. We went and checked out the road that her body was found on that morning. We're driving down the road, still an eerie feel in the air. And she's trying to look up information on her phone, websites, articles. All the articles on her phone were coming up just fine, but there was one that wouldn't come up. So we get back to the house eventually. She brings up the article again on her phone, and it loads this time. Everything else, she had service, and everything else was loading when we were there. But when we got back to the house, this article loaded up. And it had within it more of an exact location for where her body was. We're just sitting down, decompressing, and I realize after that, like, oh my gosh, that's right, I have a dash camera on my car. I get the dash camera SD, pop it into my computer, and it's got the whole night on it. I left the car running when, like I mentioned, when we got to the dam. When we pulled up to the dam, facing towards it where the camera would be pointed, the recording stopped, and it resumed as we were getting onto the main road again after everything happened. So there was a break in the recording, even though the car was running the entire time. So we go back.
Situations like Mary are very unfortunate, and oftentimes in that moment of death, they leave an indelible mark on the surroundings, on the environment, and the fact that it would happen right there by the river. It said that river actually contains, or water contains, that energy better than a lot of like stone or other things. That's why areas like this, where you have a lot of water, are said to be so very haunted.
We go up to the dam, and we're standing there. We call out, Mary, are you there? We're here again. If that was you last time, could you please, make yourself known again, like we come in peace. We don't mean to disturb you. And we get back to the car. Dash camera's still on this time. No problem there. I made sure it was on. My girl, she goes, Riley. And I look over him, like, what? Nothing had happened. And she has her phone in her hand. And she left it in the car. She's trying to turn it on, and it wouldn't turn on. She says, Riley, it had at least 80 to 90% of a charge on it before we went out of the car. And I just look at her like, well, okay. So she plugs it in. It takes about probably like 10, 12 minutes. It's a really long time for the apple to come back on the screen and for it to actually come back to life. She opens her phone, and it didn't open to the home screen. It opened to her notes. At a timestamp at which we were outside of the car, a note had been created on her phone, and it had one word on it, like the big title word at the top, that the word was yesterday. That's all it said, just yesterday.
You have all these spirits potentially around you, and some people, I believe there's like a veil between our side and the other side, and who you are will depend on how you see through the veil. Some people see like this lacy curtain, they can see everything behind the veil. Other people have like the steel curtain blocking that vision, and you can't see anything. There are risks involved because, technically we are playing with something that we don't really know that much about. There's not a whole lot of scientific fact behind it. There's always the unknown. Are you dealing with If you're a spiritual person, are you dealing with a demon? And if you just look at whether or not this spirit is, the remnants of a human being, was that person good or bad in life? And does that person have bad intentions for you? And then there's always that possibility that they find that they can bother you and they want to follow you. They want to come with you. And that's always a possibility. See, the thing with objects, I think it's more the attraction of the person to that object. Like my granddaughter has a favorite little doll. And say for some reason she were to pass away prematurely, that she would be attracted to that doll. It would be an object that she still desires to have and hold in the afterlife. And I think that's how those types of objects get haunted or retain some type of spiritual energy. If you have a whole bunch of different spirits existing in one place, they all want the attention of whoever is there, and they will try to gain that attention in any way, shape, form that you possibly can. If you could imagine being in a room full of people and no one could see you or touch you or talk to you, you would want somebody's attention at some point, and you would do anything you can to make that happen. And so instead of one spirit, you're talking about several spirits or even many spirits all at the same time trying to reach out and communicate one shape, form, or another. And it could become, it could become chaotic in many ways, things moving around, feeling wind when there's no wind. Any number of things could happen with that type of situation where you have a large collection of quote-unquote haunted items in one area.
We don't jump to the conclusion that anything is like a demon. Yeah. Every spirit gets the benefit of the doubt. One of our best forms of communication is the SB7, the spirit box. And how we use it is we attach headphones. Use the auxiliary cord and attach it to the SB7 to the headphones. And one person wears them. They cannot hear anything going around. So any of the questions asked, the responses are very organic. The person who's asking the questions, they can sort of be having that one-on-one conversation while another person is using the equipment, panning cameras, or if devices are lighting up, their eyes are on it while others are kind of looking around.
What's your name? Can you tell us that?
Moses.
Have you been here?
I'm him.
You're him? Have you been here for a long time?
We're here.
If you want to play with our slinky, we're going to put it right in front of this device.
Fancy spring.
How old are you?
I'm 8, 2 brothers. I'll go with you.
Oh. You have to stay here.
Why not?
This is your home. You just told us. You can't leave the farm. We're visitors.
We have to leave and you stay here.
I can turn around.
What happens to us when we die? It's hard to say. I think it's one of the reasons why I do what I do, other than trying to help people. I want to know what my future is. Am I just going to fade away into nothing? Am I going to haunt the crap out of people that I don't like in real life? Am I going to go to heaven? Am I going to go to hell? I don't think we'll ever find out till we reach that ultimate moment.